everybody, and welcome here to Flatout Racing Network's coverage of the Fuel RaceTrackDesigns IndyCar Series. We are here in Las Vegas at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the all-in Indy 200, race number 9 of the season, getting closer and closer to the end of the year, getting ready to go speedway racing yet again, and it's Seth Cole alongside of Sam Dyer. And Sam, the last time we were at a mile-and-a-half track, we saw some fuel strategy play out at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly expecting fuel strategy to be in the factor here. Also, keeping your tires under you, keeping your tires as fresh as they can be, because tires are running down very quickly at this race.
You're going to definitely have to have some very quick reflexes because these guys are going to be going 230 miles per hour into the corners. We're going to be seeing side-by-side racing, pack racing all the way through. We saw back when we were at Homestead, Miami with the pack racing, a lot of mistakes that were made had catastrophic results.
Yeah, watching practice so far, these drivers have been staying side by side. So if one car makes a mistake, it's going to take out a lot of machines.
Currently lined up for the pole position, and it is official now, is going to be Byron Daly. Daly comes into this race currently situated in the 14th position in points. He's only made a limited number of starts here this season, 5 of the 8 races so far he has started, but he's been a contender up there in the top 5 in just about every race he started.
Yeah, I mean, he came in with the road courses that we were doing and then really showed up here at Speedways. So it showed that he's got speed last week and showing it today, getting to the pole, that he is a car to watch out for.
Same story, maybe second chapter here in the storyline we've had pretty much for the last 5 or 6 weeks. Everybody continuing to try and chase down Nicholas Johnston, who is going to be starting mid-pack, 12th place here today. So at this point in time, he's just trying to remain consistent, try and survive. He's got 3 victories back to back to back at our road courses about 5 weeks ago, back to 3 weeks ago. So right now, I think it's just basically in this stretch of speedways, it's survive and maintain the points gap.
Yeah, I mean, this is what he did last week and was started in the middle, waited to see if other machines were going to make any mistakes, and just slowly worked his way up into finishing in the top position, like in the top 5. So really, he's just stay consistent, and that's who he's been all season long. He's been Mr. Consistent. I mean, he's been up in the top 5, it seems like, almost every race.
Back there, I think it was row 3. Got our top 2 finishers from last week at Iowa. Jason Brophy, who dominated that Iowa race, led all 200 laps, and Matt Hollabaugh, who finished second behind him. But we've actually seen quite a number of names pop up here to the top of the leaderboard as far as practice speeds. I mean, could we see a dark horse sleeper go to victory lane here today?
I think this 14 is going to be that car to watch out for. He was 3rd fastest during practice, and honestly was one of the faster machines during practice, losing that fastest speed of practice only on the last couple of minutes in practice. So really, that 14 machine is the car to watch out for, I think.
134 laps here today at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and we mentioned that the last time we were at a mile and a half, which was all the way back in March at Homestead, Miami, Liam Quinn was able to pull off some fuel strategy here. So knowing that that is possible at a mile and a half track, do you think somebody might look back at that and say, I might try and pull that page out of the playbook today?
Yeah, I mean, Liam Quinn has been the machine that we always think fuel strategy-wise, but Nicholas Johnston's also a machine that we've seen do fuel strategy. So it's honestly going to be up to these guys to try to push their cars as much as they did. I know that, Kite Baumschbach, he was the car that was doing a lot of testing on how far he could push his tires during practice. And so it's going to be interesting to see if he's going to be one of the machines trying to push his car to the limit at the end of this race.
It's interesting that here at our 5th Speedway of the schedule, all 4 previous Speedway winners are in today's event. Andrew Wood, our Motegi winner, Matt Hollabaugh, our Michigan winner, Liam Quinn, our Homestead winner, and of course Jason Brophy winning last week at Iowa. So will one of those 4 drivers double down? We'll have to wait and see, as the pace car is going to make the left-hand turn to pit road and will put the race into the hands of Byron Daly.
Byron Daly, honestly, he's going to be having a tough string here. All these speedways, usually the leader gets a fantastic start at the start, then gets racked and pulled back in by the backstretch. We'll have to find out here as the green flag is out.
If these drivers are going to be able to keep it together here for 134 laps, as they are going to be bumper to bumper here. Andrew Wood's going to tuck down in line into second place. That leaves it side by side for third. And as soon as I say that, Andrew Wood with a big run. Here you go, 3 wide for the lead going into 3 already.
It was getting really dicey up there. As you saw, Danny Roberts really squeezing Andrew Wood to making him have to back off a little bit. But it's going to be Byron Daly leading the first lap. And now everyone's just going to be staying clustered side by side. And I think this is the way we're going to see a lot of the racing throughout the day, is everyone's going to be close and no one's going to be pulling away from anybody.
Right there, whoa, as Andrew Wood keeps trying to peek out of line there in the back straightaway. Danny Roberts has to give him room, but you can see, we saw this in practice, that the driver on that outside line isn't necessarily at a disadvantage. He's able to keep tough on alongside whatever driver's to his inside.
Jason Brophy, who's dropping back from 8th, was up at the top 5, but he looks like he just took his car just a little bit too wide, lost all his momentum, and now dropping back. But yeah, these cars, when they're side by side, when you're on the outside, you're kind of just stuck there. You need to figure out how to get the momentum and really squeeze the bottom line, get them loose, make them make a mistake so that you're able to get the run off the corner. Otherwise, you're just going to be staying like you are right now.
Matt Hollabaugh with a big run there out of turn 4. He'll jump to the outside line on Eric Gonzalez. Another car way up the track back there. I think that's Riley Thompson. Actually went way up to the 3rd groove and that sometimes translates into great straightaway speed if you can maintain the speed through the corner.
As we're seeing everyone still battling hard up here, still side by side, and honestly, it doesn't feel like anyone's moving anywhere. They're kind of just staying still as a pack and just running these courses. As you're seeing Andrew Wood kind of drift up into Roberts a little bit. It's kind of sketchy to be that close to one another just because of netcode with these machines. It is something to watch out for.
The thing too, that on that inside line, as the laps continue to tick away and the heat builds in those tires, it may be a little bit difficult for these guys to hold the bottom. They may want to drift up about a lane or so, and those guys up there on the top side, they want to get the side draft and pinch you down as close as they can, so that leaves opportunity for drivers to make contact with each other through the center of the corner.
Yeah, I mean, tire wear is going to be something to watch out for. We're watching and talking to some of the drivers, and the drop-off is pretty drastic for the first about 25 laps, and then it starts to just wear down from there. You can only last about 50 laps on these tires before they're about to just pop on you. So something to watch out for is if we're going to see anyone try to push their car past the 50 lap marker, or if they're not.
You see on board here in the cockpit with 14 of Philip Radijic. You mentioned about him being maybe a sleeper here today, right now in that 4th position, following in the tire tracks of Danny Roberts, who actually is kind of making that outside line work. He was back alongside of Eric Gonzalez for 3rd. He's now gotten himself a little bit of an edge here for 2nd place on Andrew Wood. So if he can clear Andrew Wood, we'll have to see if he tries staying up on that top side to take the win or the lead away from Byron Daly, or if he tries tucking down in front of the 32.
I mean, right now, that 14 machine of Philip Radijic is someone that just wants to go. He is staying right on the back bumper of Danny Roberts, and Roberts isn't moving. He's trying to stay side by side with the leader and trying to make this pass on the outside.
Roberts has gotten himself clear of Andrew Wood. I'm trying to see if he can use the draft. And look at Radijic up there, 3 wide with a big run down the back straightaway.
3 wide, and them going 3 wide is going to allow the cars that were back there, Andrew Wood, Riley Thompson, their trend now on the back bumper of these 3 machines.
Riding for the moment back there in the 10th position. And I think I mean riding literally right now, is Nicholas Johnston, watching everything that's going on up ahead of him. He's got no reason at this early juncture to get up there and have an opportunity of tearing his race car up, as he's trying to continue to maintain his points gap, as we have had a lead change, and it's going to be Danny Roberts swinging around the outside to the front.
I mean, yeah, he made the pass on Daly, but I got to say, this 14 machine is looking quick right on the side by side with Daly, and it's just the speed that we're seeing these cars get on the outside. It looks like that's where a lot of these machines want to be.
Philip Radijic has only made 1 start this season. That was last week at Iowa. Finished with a DNF, but looking awfully strong here today. Just to tell you guys as well what the points gap is that Nicholas Johnston has right now: 50 points over Liam Quinn, 55 points over Andrew Woods. So keep an eye on the 32 and the 4, trying to see if they can win today and close that points gap up just a bit.
Once again, 3 wide, but that's for 3rd that they're 3 wide.
Riley Thompson up on the top side. Byron Daly was in the middle, and that was Andrew Wood on the bottom. They settle it out to single file, a little double wide there between Wood and Thompson. But as Danny Roberts has gotten out in front, he's got to look to his driver's right, because here comes that 14 of Radijic.
Radijic staying side by side and coming with a head of steam. Also Daly on the outside, trying to make a move and possibly force it to be 3 wide.
Their driver that could maybe play spoiler here today, I'm seeing back there in the 6th position. That's Justin Miller in the IndyCar. I think this might be his first start. No, I'm sorry. This is his 2nd start of the season. And another driver, much like Radijic, who would love to be able to get up and steal away a win from a lot of the guys that have made most of the starts this season.
Side by side for the lead, and it seems like they're side by side everywhere on track. As we're seeing, they are not really pulling away, staying as a pack. And we're 15 laps in, and these drivers are racing so fast. They're going 200 and almost 30 miles per hour into these corners, just inches off of one another. And yes, they have the control because of the downforce and the way these machines are made, but this is how tight they're driving to one another. It's insane how they're able to keep it just straight the way they are.
Just like a super speedway race. We're 15 laps in, now going on to the 16th lap. 22 drivers took the green flag. 21 of them still within 2.5 seconds of each other. The only driver right now that has kind of lost the draft is the 19 of Hayden Pastorius. And you got to wonder if he continues to lose ground, if he may end up getting lapped at some point if we do remain under green flag conditions. Now, Sam, you brought up the point about, the fuel window for these guys, 45 to 49 laps. If we continue green, we'll be heading to that point. How difficult as compared to a lot of the other 1.5 miles as Las Vegas to getting onto pit road in green flag conditions?
I would imagine with how fast they're going, they're probably going to pull off on turn 3, take the apron all the way around, and then go into the pits. They're just going so fast, it's going to be difficult for them to come into pits, but green flag pit stops usually come in with someone spinning out. It's been almost every week someone has made a mistake on pit road, and you got to wonder, if we stay green and come to those green flag pit stops, who's going to make that mistake?
Radijic in line behind Danny Roberts, got a big run, jumped to the outside in the back straightaway, can't quite keep it to the right rear off of turn 4. Gets the run again, tries to get alongside going into turn 1. Looks like for the moment the 14's able to get good corner exit speed down the straightaway. He just can't quite stay alongside from going into the center of the corner, and that's where he's losing his momentum.
I'm seeing still side by side, and gotta wonder who's going to be the big mover here, who's going to be trying to make big plays. Right now, biggest mover is going to be Nicholas Johnson, who started 12th, now up to 6th. So he's moved up 6 positions. It's been a good run for him.
Picking his moments here as he makes these passes. Another guy that's kind of been following him through the field as well is that bright red number 90 of Pedro Mojica. He's moved his way to the 7th position. The guy right now that seems to be falling, you talked about Jason Brophy falling back. Well, back in his vicinity is Matt Hollabaugh. He was up as high as 4th. He's now settled back around the 11th position.
Yeah, just if you get too high, you lose your momentum. You're going to lose at least 5, maybe 6 positions and just drop back so quick. And it's so difficult to start moving up and passing machines because you're all going so fast. You're running similar lap times. I will say, though, with these drivers sticking the way they are, being in the draft, it is helping the cars that are up front, that are leaving this pack. They're the ones that are going to be using the most fuel. It's the cars that have been staying in the draft that are saving fuel. We're going to be able to push their cars further than everyone else. That's something to watch out for if we continue on this green flag run.
No, I'm glad you brought that up, because as you were saying that, I was looking back in the field. The last time we were at a 1.5 mile track, Liam Quinn was the guy that did it on fuel mileage. Right now, he is back in the 16th position. It's the same distance here today that we ran at Homestead. You got to think he's got in the back of his mind maybe trying to apply the same strategy, and I wouldn't be surprised with him being back here in the draft. He might be saving a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you got these front two that are side by side for the lead, where you've got Roberts and Radijic, but they're both not saving fuel. They're not in the draft of either one of each other. They're side by side, so they're using the most fuel that they could possibly using and just pushing their car to the max.
Johnston now has cracked the top 5 as he just worked his way around Riley Thompson. Up ahead of them, you got the battle for the lead continuing on, and as these guys go side by side, Byron Daly ran the third groove there out of 3 and 4, trying to get some momentum on the straightaway. That actually opened the door for Andrew Wood to battle for second, but boy, we've gone 25 laps, and really, whether it's been the pole sitter out in front, Byron Daly, or the guy now leading this race, Danny Roberts, nobody has been able to really be out in front in clean air with nobody to battle. It's been side by side for the lead pretty much this entire race since the drop of the green.
Yeah, and everyone's running pretty similar lap times. No one's really outshining anyone at the moment, so it's difficult to see, but this is when things start to get interesting. We're now 25 laps into this run, and you got to start to wonder if these tires are going to wear just a little bit too much. Are they going to be able to make the same moves that they were making earlier on? Is someone going to make a mistake with how much wear is on these tires?
Jick again going to jump up there to the outside, try and get the run down the front straightaway. I don't think he's yet beat Danny Roberts to the line. He has edged ahead a couple of times, but not been scored with leading a lap. That time he seemed to get a better 1 and 2, and he maybe will get alongside. And look at Byron Daly! Ooh!
Daly trying to make a risky move, or maybe just practicing to see what moves he could make later. Oh, there goes Roddick! Off front is the accident, and we're going to be seeing possibly multiple machines involved, and other cars are now flipping in the back.
Jick upside down. Will Roberts is collected up in this one as well. And I believe the 33 of Mike Hurley. And that just looked like a mistake coming off the corner just from what I saw with the limited view there of the 14 going a little too high coming out of turn 4.
I mean, it was up front, so it's going to be easy to see, but it collected a couple of machines there that were running good.
At Radicic, and oh no, there was contact. Kind of rode up the track a little bit there, and I believe the left front wing of Radicic kind of hooked up with the right rear of Roberts, and the two cars went up, and the one that got the wall was Radicic.
Couple of machines lucky that netcode saved them, and they were able to drive through the 14 machine. It's going to be Nicholas Johnson that was one of the luckier ones. Also, Andrew Wood was pretty lucky involved, but I feel bad for Will Roberts and Hurley because they just were bystanders. They were just trying to slow up, and it looks like netcode was the reason why Will Roberts got spun around, and it's just a shame on that end.
At least 3 drivers that we know of getting some pretty extensive damage in this, and I saw a couple of other hits there too, and to your point, it may have been netcode that saved them when they made contact. We're going to go back and now look at how Will Roberts and Mike Hurley got involved, and that's what we said when we started this thing with how close these guys are running and how fast these guys are running. One little mistake, and doesn't matter where you are, if you end up making contact, it's going to be pretty violent contact.
Yeah, I mean, it just looked like Danny Roberts drifted up because of the tires and, just trying to block a little bit. But they were just so close, and there's no reaction time to really save your car in that moment, and that's what caused that whole entire chain of events.
Will Roberts was basically committed to that outside line and nowhere for him to go, along with Hurley. There might have actually been some netcode between himself and Liam Quinn that sent Will Roberts up the track in front of the 33. When the 14 went upside down, he hit somebody.
Yeah, Andrew
and I
Wood.
almost want to say, is it Wood? Okay, I thought it might be either him or Ryan Heater. I don't know. I've seen so many times where a driver will be flipped upside down. They'll make contact with somebody, but to your point, netcode comes into play. So I'm assuming the 32 is okay.
I mean, he's still up front in the 4th position after pit stops, and during pit stops, everyone came in but our leader, Danny Roberts, and Roberts now on 30 old lap tires. I don't know how he did not come in.
I was kind of looking back to try and see, is it possible, based off of the numbers that we have, for somebody to be able to make it on one stop in this race? And the answer is very easy, no. These drivers are going to have to make at least 2 pit stops from green flag to checkered flag. But looking now at guys that did come to pit road, like Byron Daly, Nicholas Johnston, who line up there second, third, Andrew Wood, Riley Thompson. I mean, if we kind of crunch the numbers now, it's still going to be 2 pit stops, but they'd be able to make that second pit stop somewhere in the vicinity of about 20 laps to go.
Yeah, I mean, 20 laps to go, and you try to push your car to the max as we are going green. Danny Roberts getting a fantastic start, but are we going to see Daly come back and catch him on the backstretch?
As you mentioned, 30-lap older tires there for Danny Roberts, and if we saw him push up as he did when he made the contact with Radicic just moments ago, I'd be a little bit concerned about the call to keep him out there. I would think that the car probably with the tire heat would get tight again. And here you see Byron Daly, big run, going to get alongside at least going into turn 1. Question is, will the new tires allow him to complete the pass?
Something to watch out for is how strong is the draft with these machines, because we were seeing everyone being so clustered up and really not spreading out. Now with this single file restart, cars are spread out. We've got about 10 cars now that are split up from about 9th on back. There's a group of cars that are all in line, but from 9th forward, you got so many cars spread out that it's going to be difficult to see if this second group can catch up.
They had the front 2 get away, and then there was a pack of 3 that have now caught up and made it a pack of 5. And here you've got Pedro Mojica, Eric Gonzalez, Justin Miller in 6th, 7th, and 8th. They're trying to catch up now, and you can see they have now caught the top 5. But to your point, now we're kind of waiting to see about that second group being led by Kite Bommersbach. You've got Matt Hollabaugh, Ryan Heater, Jason Perofi, last week's winner, in this as well. You got to think, with the way that we've been seeing side by side at the front all day, that second group is going to catch up sooner or later. And boy, side by side, and a close side by side down the back straightaway there between Roberts and Daly.
I gotta say, I'm holding my breath up here up front, just watching Danny Roberts. He's trying to hold off everyone, but it is so close. They're so close to one another. Can you trust Danny Roberts with those older tires to be that close to that 41 machine? Like, it is so intense up front.
To your point, the last time they were off of 4, Danny Roberts' car kind of looked like it pushed up again, and I thought he was going to make contact with Byron Daly, just like he had with the 14 that brought out our first caution. So you're right, kind of pins and needles moments coming out of the corner.
Oh, there was the 41.
It saves it.
Keeps it straight, and now back on course. Luckily did not spin out in front of the rest of the machines, but Danny Roberts now falling all the way back. You'd imagine he's going to come to the pits at some point real soon, just because of how old those tires are. But back up front, it's still action, going up against one another.
It was really hard for me to tell what went wrong there with Danny Roberts. I don't know if he felt something in the car where it felt like the car was coming around him, he jerked it hard to the left, or what.
I was hearing reports from these drivers that this setup is slightly loose. I mean, the track is extremely hot. It's a 102 degrees out there on the track temp. And so it's slick out there. So I'd imagine with older tires, your car's going to get a little slippery and probably just spun it around coming off turn number 4.
Danny Roberts has not brought it to pit road. He's still out there. He's going to be in the 18th position now, but still on the lead lap. It's Andrew Wood trying to jump to the outside there, Byron Daly. Meanwhile, Pedro Mojica's going to jump up there, trying 3 wide. Doesn't look like you can get enough of a run to be able to make it 3 wide, especially with the fact we're seeing that second groove have a little bit of difficulty from the entry to the center of the corner.
I'd imagine by the end of this race, there will probably be enough groove, or at least enough rubber for that second groove to really battle it a lot harder than they are right now. It's just a question of, is that third groove ever going to come in with not a lot of drivers running up there?
Riley Thompson going to move into the 3rd position. He's been so close on so many occasions at the road courses. Not been quite as strong at the speedways, but right now in the top 5. Could today be the day for Riley Thompson, as he's now going to have Eric Gonzalez to his inside. And yeah, I'm looking at a couple of these guys back there that were kind of riding the first time. Now they're starting to work their way a little bit closer to the front. Jason Brophy's now worked his way up to 9th. Liam Quinn's now up there in 11th. So we're starting to see some of these guys that have proved that they're good at the speedways in the past. They're starting to creep their way into the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, you got Kai Bommersbach, who drifted all the way back, it seemed like, to about 11th, now up to 6th, and slowly making his way to battling it out with these top 5 machines. It just seems like these cars up front, they are trying to get closer and closer to just cause someone to make a mistake.
We went back green. It was on lap 29. So that would have been somewhere in the vicinity of about roughly 12 laps to go, I believe. I still kind of think that with the fuel window we have, that's a little too much to ask for these drivers to be able to save enough to make it on one pit stop.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen these drivers being able to push. We were watching during practice, drivers trying to push their cars. Kai Bommersbach, he was the car that did it. He ran 50 laps, and his tires were toast. There was only 1% left on those things, and so they could have popped at any moment. That's just something like, if they can only make it about 50 laps, I mean, their fuel window is just about 46 to 49 laps, and now you're saying their tires can only go about 50 laps, so you're not able to really push your car as much as you want.
Andrew Wood was able to make the pass here and going to clear off of turn 4 for the race lead on Byron Daly. That's the first time we've seen someone kind of be brave enough to try and duck to the inside of somebody here. Everybody's been trying to go around on the outside, and you know, as we get closer to the end of this race, I mean, we saw it back in Michigan. We saw it back at Homestead, Miami, when we got down to about 15 laps to go, down to 10 laps to go. That's when we saw a lot of drivers make those quick moves down to the inside to be able to make passes for what eventually would turn out to be the race win.
Yeah, the snappy moves are going to be something we're going to have to wait and see. I mean, we've seen Daly practice it a little bit earlier on in the race, and now he's just riding on the high side. He really can't make any snappy moves. He's kind of stuck where he's at with where Wood's at as well.
Eric Gonzalez, good run here today for the 42. He's actually been a mainstay up in the top 5 for pretty much this entire race since we went green. Eric coming into this race 25th in points, had a great run last time out as well at Iowa, which was his first start of the season, finished in 4th.
I mean, a lot of these guys that we saw so many road course races already that once we got back to speedways, it was more so of who's going to feel a lot more comfortable, and obviously Gonzalez was one of those guys while he's running up there in the top 5.
That caution actually was a big break for as well. At the 19 of Hayden Pastores, because he was about 8-9 seconds behind the lead pack before that caution came out. Now he's caught up to the field right there. You can see on the tail end of this draft in that 18th position. So a very timely caution for him. Danny Roberts continues to run out there. He's been out there now for 48 laps, has not come to pit road yet. And I would kind of question that because of the fact that out there on those older tires and not in the draft, he's going to lose a lot of time when eventually he makes that green flag pit stop.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably going to be making that pit stop in the next couple of laps, probably the next 3 to 5 laps. That's if he's able to make his tires last that long. Now, we did have our caution, so it allowed him to have a couple of laps where he wasn't pushing his car to the max. So he might be able to push his car for another 3 laps, but he's going to have to come in soon.
Update 2 that we have 3 drivers much out of this race after our only caution of the day. Mike Hurley will finish 22nd, Philip Radicic in 21st. Will Roberts still sits on pit road, however, he is 22 laps down, so his day is effectively over. He will more than likely finish in 20th if we don't have another caution come out and he maybe go out there and try and salvage a couple of positions and a couple of points. But up front, it continues to be side by side between Andrew Wood and Byron Daly. Andrew Wood already has a win this season at a speedway, the season opener at Motegi. Byron Daly looking for his first, and you got another guy back there in Pedro Mojica. He's trying to get his first win of the season.
Mojica has been really looking strong in that bright red machine. Been one of the easiest cars to spot out there. Slowly worked his way up to the front. He started out, in the middle of the pack, and it started in 16th. I mean, close to the back of the pack, and now is up to the 3rd. Probably their biggest mover of the day so far, and really been a great day for that 90 machine.
It's kind of funny. We mentioned that we were watching in practice a lot of these drivers side-by-side racing, pack racing with each other. Well, Pedro Mojica, the guy he was really doing a lot of side-by-side racings right in front of him in Byron Daly.
And Byron Daly trying to get past Andrew Wood, who had a car bounce off of his machine during that caution, the first caution that we've had. And somehow with net code, he was able to continue running, and you're seeing he has got a fast machine. Also, a little update on Danny Roberts. He did come into the pits, and now he's coming out. He's a lap down.
A lap down, so now he needs to hope that either a quick yellow comes out so he could take a free pass and get back in the lead lap, or that this cycles all the way around. And I think we may have had a car. It was hard to tell. He got awfully close coming off turn 2. Liam Quinn almost got up into that outside wall as he's been able to fight his way currently up to the 7th position. So as of right now, the guy that we knew back at Michigan and we knew back at Homestead that was saving fuel, I don't think he's saving fuel right now.
Well, another thing to watch out for is we're around the same window that where we saw our first caution. About 26 laps on these tires. It's around the area that we were starting to see where cars were starting to drift up. They weren't holding their line as well as they were on the fresher tires. So it's something to watch out for as these cars are driving so close to one another.
I think you hit the nail right on the head with perfect timing, because I think that's exactly what happened to Andrew Wood. His car pushed up off of 4. That opened the door for Byron Daly to go to the inside, and he retakes the lead.
Also, Eric Gonzalez now trying to make a move, getting under Andrew Wood to see if Wood's going to drift up any higher. As it just looks like Wood he's going to try again on the low side, but can his car hold on the low side?
To wait and see here into turn 1. Going to edge ahead by half a car length. And I don't think he's clear off the corner. Daly is still there. That might also be a reason why we're seeing a lot of these guys try and pass for the lead on that outside line, realizing that as the run goes on, the car's going to get tight. And if you can keep the driver that's leading the race pinned down there to the inside, it's going to give you a better advantage to keep your foot in the throttle and swing around them for the race lead.
Yeah, it really is. You just got to keep on going it. An update on a car that is running very slow. The ADA machine of Justin Miller got into the wall about 2 laps ago on the front stretch, trying to make a bold move, and now he's got damage and drifting further and further back.
Back to the 18th position, still on the lead lap, and the high speeds these drivers are carrying, 230 into the corners, almost going about maybe 235.
Caution's out.
Oh, yep, you're right.
Nicholas
And
Johnson.
He's flipping down the back straightaway.
Oh, I think you got a little bit of help on that one.
I would not be surprised. Johnston, who came in with a 50-point gap next to his next competitor. You can see the suspension damage as that car is skewed to the left. Looked like he was just kind of riding, trying to stay out of trouble. Apparently, trouble found him. Our second caution of the day involves the points leader.
That car that was involved with him is going to be Cone Evans, and Evans has a ton of damage on his front right wing from touching Nicholas Johnson's machine. So imagine he's going to come in, try to get that fixed up.
You saw there first the initial contact. It turned the 28 down the track, and then the second bit of contact shoots him up into the outside wall. And a wild barrel roll there for Nicholas Johnson. And you got to think right now with that happening, you've got guys like Kite Bommersbach, Andrew Wood, Liam Quinn, Riley Thompson. They're looking at this situation and thinking, now is the chance to capitalize.
I mean, you would think, with all of this caution coming out, it allows these machines to come back in. And you got to wonder, is the lap 26 to 28 range, once these cars are on that long on their tires, is that when danger comes? Because that is the second time we've seen it.
We're going to have Byron Daly win the battle off of pit road here. Big break there with that caution coming out for the 41 of Danny Roberts. He was the only car at the time 1 lap down. And a break as well for Justin Miller to come down pit road, get the damage repaired after getting into the wall. We'll have to see if they can get Nicholas Johnston's car back out there, but wild ride that took the rear and front wing off of that race car. We saw the suspension problems on that machine. I think maybe the one saving grace for Nicholas Johnson is if he does not finish out tonight's race, it is comparatively to a lot of the other speedway races we've had this season, a somewhat smaller field.
Yeah, I mean, we've only had about 22 drivers take the green today, and he'll be finishing right now about 19th. So still in the top 20, but not the day that he was wanting to have at all, as believe the 90 machine might have gotten a penalty coming off of pit road, might have been going too fast exiting.
Pedro Mojica, who's been up in the top 5 for most of that last green flag run, is going to now restart back around the 15th position. However, he's got a fast car, and with the way that we've seen this kind of pack racing here today, he may be able to work his way back up there rather quickly. As they're going to get ready to go green, I think, this time. Looking to see if the lights are out atop the pace car, and nope, they're still on, so I guess we got another lap of pacing to do here after they get to the line.
Another car that really was thankful that this caution came out, it's going to be Danny Roberts. Yes, he was a lap down, but this time by, I believe he's going to be getting a wave around. Just going to put him back on the lead lap, but he's going to be all the way back in about 17th.
We have drivers that will not be taking the green for this restart. Nicholas Johnston has indeed had his number 28 pushed behind the wall, and he is also joined by Hayden Pastorius in the 19 machine. So right now, 17 cars are going to continue this race, all 17 still on the lead lap. The bad news for these guys is that caution did not put them in the fuel window to be able to make it the rest of the way. They still got one more pit stop on the horizon. The question is, will it be under green or will it be under caution?
I think we're just going to have to wait and see after about 25 laps if these cars are going to be going straight, if we're going to be having another caution, because just based on patterns, it could happen again.
During the halfway point of this race, Byron Daly is the race leader. Andrew Wood lines up second. Eric Gonzalez in third. Liam Quinn, furthest up he's been today, in fourth. Kite Bommersbach in fifth. Jason Brophy, last week's winner, is sixth. Matt Hollabaugh in seventh. Riley Thompson in eighth. Haven't mentioned these two guys yet today, but how about Cristobal Venezuela running in the ninth position? And restarting 10th is going to be Ryan Heater. Rest of the drivers that are going to take the green flag here for this restart: 11th place, Rodrigo Munoz. Evan Adams in 12th. Jake Gaudette in 13th. Cohen Evans 14th. Justin Miller will be 15th after the EOL penalty. Pedro Mojica in 16th and getting the wave around 17th. Last car running, last car on the lead lap, the 41 of Danny Roberts.
We know Danny Roberts has a fast machine. He's going to have about 9 laps older tires than everyone else. So we'll have to wait and see if that 41 machine can make his moves throughout the pack. But we saw it last time. Are we going to see it this time where cars are going to be spread out on this restart? And how long is it going to take for everyone to get grouped back up?
Brought up the point about like the 20 to 25 laps is when we start to see those guys really push up. Is that going to make these guys maybe think about, maybe I don't want to be side by side with someone to my inside? Somehow I think the answer is no. As soon as these guys put on the helmet, they want to pass the car in front of them. But we'll wait and see if they try and ride it out to the final pit stop of the day, as Byron Daly gets a great jump, but I'm not so certain he wants that big of a jump here at a track where draft is so important.
Well, Byron Dale's going to get a great jump, but also Eric Gonzalez got a fantastic start, being right on the back bumper of Andrew Wood, who didn't take off as well as he could have, as they are still set front. They're all on a line, but right now it looks like Eric Gonzalez might be just trying to help in the draft at the moment, and then once they're up to the leader, get side by side with Andrew Wood.
Much of a difference does the draft make? Well, Byron Daly by himself was going about 210, 211 through 3 and 4. Wood and Gonzalez, they were going 215, 216, 5 miles per hour difference with the draft.
And also behind them in fourth, Liam Quinn, who we usually, say he's the strategy guy with almost all these tracks. He's now pushing his car to the max and up here in fourth.
I mean, look who you got right now up here in the top 5. You've got second in points, 50 points back. Second in points, 50 points back, Liam Quinn in fourth. Third in the points, 55 points back, Andrew Wood. These guys realize the situation with Nicholas Johnston out of this race. If they get up there and they win this event, that's a big chunk of points that they have been able to close in on Nicholas Johnston.
And also these fresh tires is allowing these drivers to be as aggressive as they are right now. As Matt Hollabah's up here, Kai Bommersbach's up here, Riley Thompson, who's been in the top 5 before, he's trying to make some big moves and get back up in the top 5.
Riley Thompson just last week, 4th in the standings from Kite Bommersbach, moved Bommersbach back to 5th, but both of them still within somewhat striking distance. Thompson 63 points back, Bommersbach 67 points back. I mean, we know that nobody's going to take the points lead here today away from Nicholas Johnston, but they can certainly do some damage repair against the 3 wins Johnston had earlier on this season against them.
Yeah, I mean, that's really what your mentality's got to be, is Johnston's been consistent. He's been running the top 5 almost every single race. He's now out of it. He's now going to finish in 19th. You got to be finishing up in the top 5, if not win this race, if you're in the top 4 or 5 of points, just to crack and get closer to the points leader. And you've got to have a good finish here. If you don't, it's got to be basically handing over the trophy to Nicholas Johnston.
The reason as well that they have to be doing this now is there's only 5 more points events here for the season. There are 6 events, only 5 of them for points though. One of them is the Indy 500 qualification day. So, time and races are running out for them to be able to close the points gap. So if you've got an opportunity like this, you absolutely have to take it.
You definitely do. As up front, we still have Byron Daly holding up front with Andrew Wood. It seems like these two have been the front 2 almost all race long. And then you've got Matt Hollabah trying to make a pass on the outside here on Andrew Wood.
Hollabah, who finished 2nd last week at Iowa, trying to get himself up here to the front. He's got some drafting help up there. I don't know how much the drafting help really works, though, if a driver's up behind you, because it almost seems like they get a run on you, they have to check up, and that loses your momentum on the top side.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, that's why we're starting to see drivers go 3 wide, or just try to make bold moves whenever they can with the momentum. But all these machines, when you're that close to one another, you're kind of just stuck there if a car's on the high side of you.
If these guys were in stock cars, they could push each other, but you can't do that with the way the Indy cars are formed. As now it's going to be 3rd place battle here between Eric Gonzalez on the inside, Matt Hollabah up top, and oh my goodness, I thought maybe Gonzalez was going to stick his nose to the inside of Andrew Wood. I don't know if he lifted and thought better of it or just didn't have the momentum to follow that up into 3.
I would imagine he lifted just a little bit to try to make sure he didn't run it over on Hollabah. A little update on cars in the back. You see machines 3 wide. On the bottom, it's going to be Danny Roberts, who's now up to 11th.
Roberts is now trying to crack back into the top 10. Had that little spin off of turn 4 after staying out on older tires. Had to come to pit road, lost a lap, got the wave around. Now currently in the 12th position. He does still have older tires than everybody else around him, about 9 laps older tires, but still in this lead pack, still on the lead lap, but not up front like he was earlier on this thing. And oh my goodness, throwing a block there for 12th place on Pedro Mojica.
I mean, both of these cars, Mojica and also Roberts, were up front, battling in the top 5, and now in the back trying to make their way through this pack of cars. And it's so difficult to make these moves. I mean, up front, you're seeing how hard it is. Just imagine how difficult it is just trying to get through the pack right now.
With Liam Quinn, you saw Matt Hollabah make a pass around him for the 4th position. Andrew Wood further up, trying to peek out of line to try and challenge for the race lead against Byron Daly. And to your point, yeah, it just seems like these guys, they're going nowhere. They move up side by side, and it stays a stationary side by side. Nobody really gains an advantage. Everyone just kind of gets stalled out.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty difficult just to make moves. As you're not able to spread out. The draft is just so strong to keep cars together with these Indy machines. And so you're just seeing it now. I want to give a shout out to the 09 of Roberto Munoz. Fastest car during practice, now just hanging in the top 10. Watching cars making bold moves around him as he's just trying to consistently run on the bottom and just stay behind everyone else.
And that word that you said is really kind of identifies his season. That's consistent. He's been consistently in the top 10 week after week. Last week, top 5 at Iowa, comes into this race now 7th in the overall point standings, 81 points out of the points lead, but has been there just about every single week at the end, salvaging top 10s and top 5s, and another good run today. He lost a couple of spots there through that corner, but still on the lead lap, still up to speed, and we may not have seen the last of him here at Las Vegas.
Danny Roberts now into the top 10, and in front of him he's got Kai Brommersbach and then also Jason Brophy. Brophy last week led every single lap during the charity win last week. And, it seemed like he knew what was going to happen last week with how dominant he was. And now this week, we're seeing him here in the top 10.
Jason Brophy, of course, back at the 2-mile track of Michigan, was leading on the final lap before getting hooked and barrel rolling down the back straightaway out of 2. Mentioned that redemption win he kind of had last week at Iowa and trying to see if he can double down and go 2 for 2. We really haven't seen him up inside the top 5 yet today, so I don't know if he's just kind of hanging there mid-pack waiting for his moment, if he just doesn't feel brave enough to get up there for the moment, or if he's still trying to maybe work out how the draft plays here at Las Vegas.
I mean, we're kind of seeing two different drivers, right? We're seeing the cars are just running it as Brophy goes up to the 3rd lane, all the way up there. Cars are just running their laps. They're staying in the pack, just running their laps, not trying to push it too hard. And then you've got cars like the 90 machine, you've got the 41 that are trying to get it back up front, back up to the lead, and battling out for the up front for get to up to the lead. So those are the two different drivers we're having: aggressive and just passive drivers.
About Danny Roberts, the 41. He's now up into the top 10. Try and make his way around Jason Brophy for that 8th position. And as I'm looking at my telemetry, we're on our 21st lap of this run. So it's been the story so far with our 2 cautions. Around this point, drivers pushing up, making contact. It brings out the yellow. We're in that vicinity now, so we'll see if these drivers can keep it together.
Car that just came into the pits is going to be the 80 machine of Justin Miller, who just went a lap down. He is still having issues after hitting the wall back on lap 60, so issues for that 80 machine might be calling it a day.
His hit into the wall must have been pretty significant, because I was looking at his lap times. He had lost the draft. Last time I looked, he was about 25 seconds behind the car ahead of him, Evan Adams, in 16th. So apparently that hit into the wall really hurt him in terms of handling, in terms of speed, and currently it still sits on pit road. Now they are actually pushing, to your point, the 80 car behind the wall. We've got a battle for the lead, though. Matt Hollabaugh going to duck down to the inside for the lead into turn 1.
Hollabaugh started on the outside, passing Andrew Wood, and then ducked right under Daly, coming into turn number 2. And now we're seeing side-by-side action with Daly firing back.
That second groove, if there's enough rubber laid up there yet for that outside line to get some momentum, and the answer could be yes, as boy, he got awfully close down there to the side of Matt Hollabaugh, trying to side draft as they head into 1.
Lap 86 of 134. Now drivers going to be starting to think, we're in that window where you can come in and pit. They need to pit at least one more time, and when are they going to do it?
This point, the fuel window is open, so do you pit early? Do you split this run in half, or do you wait the longest? I know that a lot of times we talk about maybe waiting it out the longest so that way you can take the less amount of fuel and make your car lighter.
I mean, you're also going to be pitting for full. You're not going to be taking the full fuel, but you're going to have to take all 4 tires, and so it's going to be a longish pit stop. As we're seeing his car on the... believe that is going to be Roberts. Danny Roberts, once again, off of turn number 4, off the track, and now off pace. Just got loose. The same issue we had last time around the same... Well, we could say the same for everyone else, but he's on 36-year-old tires, kind of the same area he was in last time that he spun out.
Is it again, though, did not tear up his equipment, but boy... Boo right there with the incident he had before off of turn 4. Up front, they continue to battle for the race lead as we remain under green flag conditions.
And now we're in that zone that we were seeing all of the other cautions happen, where the drivers are at 28 laps on their tires. Are they going to stay clean? Are they going to start to drift up and make some mistakes? We're going to have to wait and see, but man, this is where things are going to get a lot more intense.
Absolutely, as you still got the side-by-side between Hollabaugh and Daly. You got Andrew Wood kind of hanging there in that 3rd position, trying to say, hey, somebody get an advantage here so I know which lane to take. He may make his own at some point. He may end up maybe even going up the middle or maybe trying to swing down low and make it 3 wide with these guys if he gets a big enough run.
I mean, with how close these two up front are getting, you might just want to have to wait and see where things go. You're going to have to pit at least one more time. We're still going to go for another at least 20 laps at most, and maybe about 25 least. I mean, you got to wonder, are they going to be pushing their car, or are you just going to be staying back? I think staying back would be the best thing for your machines, just so that you're not pushing it to the max and hitting the wall or hitting another car. You just got to watch out and try to not make any mistakes from here on out.
Here in your top 4, you've got 3 drivers that have won at Speedways. Matt Hollabaugh, Andrew Wood, Liam Quinn, Byron Daly, the highest he has finished at a Speedway this season, was back at Homestead, Miami, finished runner-up to Liam Quinn. So he's trying to be the one driver here out of this top 4 that hasn't won to pick up a checkered flag. But I'm looking back here, and how about some of these guys with some comeback runs? That 90 of Pedro Mojica got hit with that speeding penalty, restarted back around the 15th position, up there in 8th, and now trying to see if he can crack into the top 10s. They're 3 wide ahead of him.
Mojica has been pushing back, fell all the way back to about 16th position, and then making his way back up front now and getting close to the top 5 and the top 10. But that 90 machine earlier on in this run was really making some bold moves, trying to get as fast as he could up. Now seems like it's gotten to the top 10. It's been a lot more difficult to make passes.
We're starting to see drivers pushing up off the corner. We see right there, Andrew Wood has to run the middle lane at a turn 4. Couldn't even keep it down the bottom.
Oh, Liam Quinn almost lost it, saving the car, but got on the apron and now it's going to be falling all the way back. That could have been horrendous for so many machines, where Liam Quinn got sideways. Luckily was able to save it.
Matt Hollabaugh lost the lead. He's fallen back to 4th. Andrew Wood now going to lose the lead to Byron Daly. Now it's looking like, we saw where drivers were having difficulty swinging around the outside to take the race lead away from someone. Now it looks like everyone's having difficulty holding on to the top spot.
I mean, it's difficult just because of how much you're seeing your car drift up. I mean, the tire wear right now, we have seen such a drastic difference just in the last 5 laps. It's hard for you to stay on that white line, as Daly proves me wrong, as he starts to be almost hugging that white line coming around the corner. But Andrew Wood is one of the cars that really can't. Brophy's trying to make a move on the outside. We got to wonder, when are we going to see cars start to drift up just a little bit more as Andrew Wood drifts up right in front of Brophy.
Also got to wonder when these guys are coming to pit road. Brophy with a big run. He's going to go 3 wide. Well, it was going to be 3 wide. Andrew Wood saw the run coming, backed out of it. It's now side by side for the lead between Brophy and Daly.
And with Wood backing out, he also gives Eric Gonzalez a chance now to get up here in the top 3.
We dominated last week, led all 200 laps at Iowa, is yet to lead a lap here today at Las Vegas. Trying to go back-to-back wins here as now Andrew Wood crosses him over for second. Gets to the inside, and behind them, way up the top side there is Matt Hollabaugh. That's the second time I've seen him up against that wall, that 3rd lane off of 4.
I don't know how there wasn't a caution. I'm looking back. Evan Adams is now very slow on pit road, and he got in contact with Danny Roberts, and his car is absolutely ruined.
Bill Green, however, as she's back there for Adams, who I believe was out of the draft. I think he'd lost the draft. Oh my goodness, I think Andrew Wood may have brushed the wall. If he didn't, it was a miracle. And now he's going to tuck down there into the 3rd position, as Daly for the moment able to hold off Brophy. But boy, yeah, everybody off turn 4 seems to be having difficulty now.
I mean, you're so close to one another. If you make a mistake and you're on the bottom, you're basically got to hope that the car next to you understands that you made a mistake and somehow can back off, or you have to back off enough to not wreck into them.
Cars are so aerodynamically dependent, they rely on draft as well as draft on the side. So if you've got someone to your outside going through a corner, can that affect your car and pull it up the high side?
Oh, it definitely can. If you get onto the corner panels of these machines, if your front end's there, you're messing with their aero package. You can loosen them up, make them drift up just a little bit more, get a little bit more wiggly coming off the corner. It's affecting every part of this machine being so close to one another, as now we are now on lap 102 in lap 41 on these tires. We're coming to the end of this stint. When are they going to be coming to the pits? I'm expecting it to start in the next 5 to 6 laps.
As that's going on, drivers strategizing when they're going to pit. They are still battling here for the race lead, and oh my goodness, getting so close to each other. They're off of 4. Brophy was able to pass Daly. Daly passes him back. Now it's Adam Wood, make that Andrew Wood now closing in here to make it a 3-man fight.
Up front, it's still 2 cars, Jason Brophy and Daly, and Andrew Wood's got to be holding off both of these machines. And Matt Hollabaugh, we've seen him make some bold moves, as it looks like Brophy's going to be the first one in with Hollabaugh.
I was kind of wondering, I was going to be interested to watch these guys when they pitted, because we saw Liam Quinn go down on the apron of the front straightaway and get loose. So I was wondering if that transition down onto the apron and onto the flat pit road was going to be an issue for these guys. Apparently not. Brophy, Hollabaugh, and Liam Quinn, they're in this lap, along with Danny Roberts and Cristobal Valenzuela.
Waiting to see if any other cars are going to be coming in this lap as we're watching our front cars come in. It looks like no one's coming in this time by, but we are in that window. Good to the green. The only risk is with all these cars that have pitted already. They're a lap down, and if there is a caution, they're going to stay a lap down.
Andrew Wood slowing. I believe he's going to pit this time. Also following him in, Rodrigo Munoz and Cohen Evans. So 3 drivers in here on lap 106.
You know, it's talking about having issues while coming out of the pits. I mean, just entering the pits, but coming out of the pits, it's going to be Venezuela and the 3 machine that had issues, spinning it out, not causing a caution, but having some issues and losing a lot of time.
As the field's going to start getting themselves spread out here with these green flag pit stops, should they cycle around, that's going to make it less likely for us to see a yellow here in these final 28 laps.
I mean, then it's just going to be on you as a driver. Are you going to make any personal mistakes at this point? As now we've seen our first real accident, per se, coming in and out of the pits. I got to wonder how many cars are going to be pushing it to the max. I'm watching a battle for 11th with Matt Hollabaugh and Liam Quinn. They're both are just trying. They're already a lap down, but they're trying to push their cars to see who's going to be up front when it comes to the end of this pit stint.
Lee Thompson and Ryan Heater on pit road, leaving 5 drivers out there that are still yet to come to pit lane. I believe the car you said that had an issue there with Cristobal Valenzuela, he had to actually come back down pit road again after that spin out and is making another pit stop. So very costly error for him. And right now, lap 48 for these 5 remaining drivers, so they can't make it much further.
Now, another factor to watch in for these drivers is how aggressive are they going to be coming into the pits. I've been seeing a lot of cars coming in pretty slow, and then you've got other cars that are coming in as quick as they can and really trying to be maximizing their chance to get speed off and save as much time as they possibly can coming off these corners. As up front, looks like Daly's coming in.
He is going to turn the race lead over to Eric Gonzalez. And I believe Pedro Mojica is coming in as well. So 3 drivers still yet to make a pit stop. Eric Gonzalez, the leader. Kite Bommersbach in second. And Jake Gaudet in the 3rd position. If we're looking in terms of who might cycle out as the race leader right now, Jason Brophy of the cars that pitted is the furthest up front over Andrew Wood and Riley Thompson. We'll have to see where Byron Daly cycles around because it was actually Daly and Brophy that were battling for the race lead at the time when the pit stops began.
I mean, it's from 6th all the way back to 10th. No, I believe all the way back to 11th. This little cluster of cars, they are going to be the leaders coming out of the pits. And they are slicing and dicing as our leader, Eric Gonzalez. Looked like he was about to come in, slowed up, but he did not. Kate Bommersbach is going to be coming in, though.
Heard your reaction. Did the 3rd place car of Jake Gaudet spin because he came to pit road when we looked at him with no front wing?
He did. It looks like he came in after having a little bit of contact. But I was holding my breath because I was seeing those guys in that pack of cars that are going to be taking the lead. They were about 3 wide.
Gonzalez now going to pit as well. So we'll drop back here to that battle, which Looks like it may cycle around for the lead. Brophy leading Quinn. Andrew Wood there as well. Riley Thompson in this group. Matt Hollabaugh also. And it looks like Byron Daly is going to cycle around somewhere to the 7th position after he was pretty much the race leader when the pit stops began. It was himself and Brophy who were side by side for the lead before Brophy ducked onto pit lane.
A little update on Jake Gaudet. Yeah, he came into the pits, sliding a little bit, and then spun it out on pits, destroying his front wing and ruining his race.
Is now 2 laps down. Cristobal Valenzuela is 5 laps down, so pit road playing just as much a factor in this race as the track itself. They're off of 2. I think that was Eric Gonzalez coming back onto the track, and Brophy tried to move up to give him a lane and almost got up into Andrew Wood.
Yeah, it was close racing as they're 3 wide now for second place. Boltar pit cycle is through, so this is it. Unless there is a caution, these are the cars that are going to be racing for the lead.
I think Eric Gonzalez is going to be able to latch on to this lead pack, so there's going to be 8 drivers up in this lead group in the hunt for this win if we don't have a caution come out in these final 20 laps.
That's the big if, because now we got cars that are going to be running, there's so many different cycles. These cars in the top 3, they pit way earlier than everyone else. They're on 12-lap old tires. So by the end that we get to the end of this thing, they're going to be on about 30-lap old tires. So they're still going to be in that danger zone for their tires.
Not only that, but at the early portions of the race, drivers will be a little bit more lenient. There'll be a little bit more give and take. If a driver gets chopped off, they'll lift to avoid wrecking themselves in the car in front of them. When we get down to 10 laps to go, there's no lifting. It's all take, no give. And so a lot of these aggressive moves we've seen, they're going to ratchet up just a little bit more.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing a lot more of twitchy movement from these drivers getting close to the end as Daly and Wood, really, they're the 2 cars that once they're side by side, they get so close to one another that it's more so of if Wood makes a mistake, Daly's going around.
You think about big picture racing. Right now, Quinn is in the 2nd spot. Andrew Wood just now unofficially in 4th place. They are trying to close in the points gap on Nicholas Johnston, who's finishing tonight's race behind the wall in 19th. So they've got to make sure they keep their cars in one piece and salvage as many points as they can. But I'm not sure they're even thinking about that right now. They want to win this race.
Yeah, I mean, winning this race is helping you in all the ways that you need points-wise. I mean, most of these guys probably will not be getting... I think Daly probably would be the car that would have the most laps led at the end of this thing, as he would probably be the one that could maximize in points. So it's going to be close up front, but Brophy leading this thing and trying to go for 2 wins in a row.
I'm not really sure how much tires are going to come into play here. You mentioned about the fact some of these guys like Brophy and Quinn, they're going to be around 30 laps on their tires when we get down to the end of this thing. But if new tires do mean anything, right now, 6th place, Eric Gonzalez is the one with the freshest tires up here in this lead group. So we'll see if that late call to pit road is going to be what wins in this race.
Also, Kai Brommersbach, both of them on the back of this pack for the lead. Both of them have the freshest tires out of everyone up here. They don't even have double digits on their tires. They're just waiting to make their move and waiting to see as everyone else, once we get to about 10 laps to go, everyone else should be drifting up. They won't be holding the lines as well as they could. And I believe these 2 guys in the back of this front pack are going to be able to hold their lines and make the biggest moves at the end.
That just shows you so much at a speedway how important the draft is. With them all racing side by side, Bommersbach was about 1.5 seconds back from the lead group. By himself, he was able to draft up to the tail end of this pack, and so now we've got about 9 drivers up in this lead group with a chance of taking the checkered flag.
It's up front. It's still side-by-side action. You got Daly, you got Brophy, and then you got Quinn just waiting to make a move, but on the 3rd lane, it's going to be Riley Thompson trying to make his way up front.
Riley Thompson and Matt Hollabaugh have been the only 2 that really have put rubber up in that 3rd groove. They have been running up on that high side so many times, and you see Hollabaugh again way up on that 3rd groove there through 3 and 4.
You got to wonder if they're up there on the 3rd groove just because of how much momentum they have, and they don't want to lift, so they're just putting their car up there a way to slow down.
I was wondering, too, if they're kind of experimenting up there, knowing that if we get down to the end of this race and some of these guys are going to be around 25, 30 lap old tires, they want to make sure that they're going to be able to give that car on the bottom enough room, plus keep their momentum off the corner.
And coming off of turn number 4 with 10 laps to go, who's going to win this thing as Brophy takes that lap?
Almost 3 wide there going into turn 1. You had Daly looking in the middle. You had Thompson looking up on the 3rd lane. Behind them, you got Andrew Wood and Liam Quinn. They're side by side for 4th. You got 9 drivers all here, double wide, 3 wide at points, trying to move their way up here into a spot. But right now, they're all chasing this side-by-side battle between Brophy and Daly.
Riley Thompson really looks like he's trying to make that 3rd lane work, and also cars that have tried up there. It's going to be Halava who's been up there, and also Kai Beimersbach. He's been up there trying to make that 3rd lane work here every once in a while, as Riley Thompson gets a great run coming off of turn 2.
Boy, did he ever. You had them side by side kind of stalled out with Brophy and Daly, and with Thompson getting that big a run, I don't know if he can necessarily get to the top side 3 wide and make the move work either in 1 or 2 or 3 and 4. He may be setting up to get a good enough run to dive to the inside and take these guys 3 wide with that inside lane, but now he's going to have, I believe that's Eric Gonzalez to his inside, and wow, Daly got loose off of 2.
Daly with 16 laps, soon to be 17 lap old tires, but he's battling with Brophy. Brophy's going to have 24 lap old tires coming across the line here.
Remember, back to Michigan. I know he probably doesn't want me to keep talking about it, but Brophy was leading the race there at a speedway. It did not end well for him. Right now, he is basically the control car. He's the guy that's controlling that inside line and telling Byron Daly, hey, if you're going to get around me, you got to do it on that second groove. So at the moment, I don't think that 88 has any plans of leaving the white line. As soon as I say that, he moves up into Byron Daly, and look at Thompson shoot up the middle for the lead.
Thompson really gained that momentum, and it's also going to allow Andrew Wood now to get on the outside for 2nd place. Andrew Wood now trying to go after Brophy as Thompson up front. I think tires might be becoming an issue here coming to the later half.
Definitely, I think you are correct, as Brophy got tight off the corner, drifted up into Byron Daly. Daly has now drifted back to 7th. Both of them lost so much momentum. It was an easy shoot up the middle and pass for the lead for Riley Thompson. Andrew Wood now will slot into 2nd place, and that looks like Eric Gonzalez on the bottom trying to take 3rd. Now does Andrew Wood have a car that can get up there and challenge Riley Thompson?
It's going to be Venezuela up here with our leaders. He's a lap down machine. He's trying to keep that there, but we're coming now to 4 laps to go. And it's going to be close. I mean, with this gap that Riley Thompson had on everyone else, it's going to give them the momentum once they catch him.
Venezuela's 6 laps down, so I'm not really sure why he would try holding up these race leaders. Looks like he's going to stay low and try and stay out of the way. Thompson, though, even though he's got about a 2/10 gap, that draft's coming into play as Wood and Brophy trying to draft back up to his back bumper.
Another lap ticks down, and you got side-by-side action for 2nd, and this is exactly what Thompson wants to see. If as long as they're side-by-side, it's allowing him to keep the lead for a little bit longer.
About Kite Bommersbach now up the highest he's run all day. He's in 4th, trying to help Brophy there on the outside line.
Coming on to turn number 3 in round 4. We're going to have 2 laps to go here. Riley Thompson, he just needs to hold the bottom line and really not let anyone get below him, and he'll have this thing won.
He had a great run out of 4, crossed over to the inside of Wood. Little contact, I think, right there between himself and Thompson as he jumps to the outside line, side by side for the leadoff 2.
We might be going 3 wide, entering turn number 3, as Brophy's going to be stuck in the middle with the oldest tires here. That is such a risky move for everyone else, but Riley Thompson's still holding on the bottom and holding it to the pedal.
They are going to cross the line, receive the white flag, so now push comes to shove. Who makes the move to win, or do they all wreck in the attempt? They were almost 3 wide, 2 rows deep. It's Thompson on the bottom, Brophy on the top side down the back straightaway.
And here comes Andrew Wood on the high side, trying to go 3 wide here, coming to the end as we're in turn number 3, now entering 4. Who's going to get the win here?
4 wide off turn 4 as Brophy tries to pinch down on Thompson. Photo finish, and Brophy, I think, got him, maybe by a wing.
Brophy just gets it by 4 thousandths of a second.
I gotta check back, but that might have been the closest finish. It was close before. Back, I think it was at Michigan.
I think
that
it
one
might
was
have been
41 1/1000ths. Yeah, that was the closest. The closest so far.
Wow.
Back, Jason Brophy Out of everybody in that lead pack, had the oldest tires along with Liam Quinn.
And Liam Quinn going to be finishing third. I mean, fantastic runs for those guys on older tires. You know, you thought maybe they were going to drift up, make a mistake. Brophy holding it strong and on the outside gets it done.
Jason Brophy, last week it was a cakewalk at Iowa, led all 200 laps, but today, talk about earning it as he just edged Riley Thompson to the line, and it was actually really close between the top three. Liam Quinn ducked it down low there to the inside. They were three wide coming across the stripe. Quinn only came up 76 1,000ths short.
I mean, re-looking at it, it was inches, maybe about 4 inches that Brophy got that win. It was so close the way that they crossed the line. But congratulations to Brophy holding it strong on the outside and getting it done.
Photo finish, the closest of the season. It's worthy of a still shot. They were three wide, 2 rows deep going into 3, 4 wide coming off of turn 4. Somehow they didn't wreck, which was the most amazing thing to me. I mean, I expected to see maybe 3-4 cars up in the air by the time they exited out of turn 4.
I think that out of that whole entire group, the only accident I saw was after they crossed the line. Daly got a little bit sideways going across the grass, but that was about it. They kept it clean, and that is so surprising with how old of tires there was all around, and it was amazing racing to watch.
There it is right there. You can see that was the advantage. Brophy over Thompson. And unbelievable, as we said, officially 4 1,000ths of a second. It's the closest finish of the season. And as we look here at the finishing results, Riley Thompson, a bridesmaid once again with a runner-up finish, but 2 guys who really capitalized here today, points-wise. 3rd place finish for Liam Quinn, 4th place finish for Andrew Woods. So the points gap between themselves and Johnson certainly will be at least cut somewhat, maybe in half, when we go into next week at the Homestead Road Course.
Honestly,
I'm sorry, the Indy Road Course, I should say.
it was something that was very necessary for these drivers. They needed to have a good day, and that's what they got. I mean, especially with seeing Johnson have the early troubles, you know you needed to finish up in the top 5, if not even better. And honestly, that's what these guys needed to do.
Aaron Daly's going to bring it home in 5th. Another great speedway run for him. Kite Bommerspach in 6th. Eric Gonzalez in 7th. Matt Hollabaugh in 8th. And Rodrigo Munoz was the last car in the lead pack. He'll finish in 9th. Danny Roberts had a lot of issues here today, but he did manage to finish on the lead lap in 10th place. We looked down through the rest of the results, and we had a lot of these guys basically have issues as far as pit road under green flag conditions. 13 cars finishing on the lead lap with Mojica, Heater, and Evans. Jake Gaudet spun coming to pit road, finishes 14th. Cristobal Valenzuela spun coming onto pit road, 15th for him. Evan Adams, Sam, you documented him having some contact with Danny Roberts. He finished out of the race in 16th, and the rest of these guys all finished behind the wall as well, including Justin Miller, Hayden Pastioris. The big one, as we mentioned, Nicholas Johnston, the 19th position. I believe it's his first DNF of the season as well. Will Roberts finished in 20th, and these other guys as well, Philip Radijic and Mike Hurley, they were involved in an early caution, our first caution of the evening. I think that we've got some of our top 3 on standby to be able to talk to, and let's kick things off here with 2nd place finisher Riley Thompson. Riley, it's Sam and Seth up here on the Flatout Racing Network studios. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Oh, man. Sometimes you're on the receiving end of a photo finish. Sometimes you're not. And, boy, out of turn 4 there, you had the 88 to your outside. Was there anything you could have done with where you were to be able to edge him out?
I got incredibly lucky with both of them making contact in front of me to be there in the first place, but shifted down into 4th in that last corner, and I would have been fine, but double shifted in 6th. I think it cost me just enough momentum to where he got.
Talked about that movie made for the race lead. We knew coming into this race that the setup was loose. We know that these cars are awfully light, and we know that with the speeds you guys are carrying into the corners, you have to have absolutely perfect reflexes. I mean, how difficult is it to be able to react to something like that, find the hole that quickly to be able to make a pass for the lead?
It's more of just a lot of praying. Cars weren't too tough to drive. It was more of on the tight end, but especially once you got about 20, 30 laps in, it was trying to stay on the outside, and squeezing the guys on the inside, making sure they couldn't get a run.
Yeah, Riley, I mean, it seemed like you were the one making a lot of these bold moves. Was the outside ever, the third lane, was it ever really coming in, or was it just a place to really just run off and lose momentum?
1 and 2, it was definitely the inside lines to lose. For some reason, outside line could never get too much momentum out of 4. But as soon as you got back into 3 and 4, inside had to lift a crazy amount, and so if you could squeeze them enough, you would get the position pretty easy.
Great run for you here today. You've moved up to fourth in points after last week's race, and this is going to definitely help you gain some more points here, especially with Nicholas Johnston having that early exit. We're now going to let you do some shout outs here.
Yeah, hopefully I can get it right this time. But I'd like to thank Simsa Esports with our sponsors, Linford, Craig's Up Shop, iLiveries for making this beautiful pen again, and our soda fuel calculator.
All right, that's Riley Thompson, brings it home in the second position here today at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Looking forward to talking to you next week at the Indianapolis Road Course.
Hopefully it isn't in second again.
And let's get our race winner, Jason Brophy. Hey, Jason, it's Sam and Seth up here in the Flatout Racing Network studios. You got us?
Yes, I do.
Well, let's compare last week to this week. Last week, you led all 200 laps at Iowa, but boy, you had to get into a dogfight here today in order to edge out Riley Thompson at the line. I mean, you guys were 3 wide, 2 rows deep going into those final few corners. What was going through your mind there?
I just hold on. That was it. I felt like I had a pretty good shot when I got to his outside there, coming 2 to go, coming to the line. I kind of feel like I did muscle Andrew a bit, but I had a huge run, and so I carried it to the middle. And once I got close enough to the outside, I felt like if I could hold Riley down there, I might be able to nip him at the line. And by some luck, I just held just enough momentum out of 2 that I could get to the line first. So it was white knuckle racing for sure. Everybody did a good job keeping it clean there.
Absolutely. The closest finish of the season with 4 1,000ths of a second. When we got to long green flag runs, when we got near 25 to 35 laps on those tires, looked like a lot of drivers on that inside line were having trouble with pushing up out of the corner. From the driver's seat, was that what you guys were experiencing?
Yeah, especially in dirty air, especially as we'd kind of burned off our tires. Right? I think pretty much everybody had been in dirty air there. And so, yeah, you had to lift some if you're trying to run the bottom, especially if you're being pinched. If you weren't, you could sail it off in there if you had the lane to yourself, but you'd still push out probably half a lane or something. I need to apologize to Byron there on that last run. I got caught out by a lap car and shoved up the track, and I feel bad about it. I should have lifted earlier. I just didn't guess that he was going to go to the bottom, and I messed it up. So, there was push, but as you saw in that last run, you could hold the bottom pretty well. I think it was probably about 5 laps longer than, maybe the last run when I pit. But I wanted to try and get out front. So that was the goal. Try and get out front, get things a little settled down. And, well, I was wrong on that.
Yeah, but Jason, I mean, it looked like when you're up front, it felt like you were in the catbird seat, and it felt a lot smoother than everywhere else. How was it, though, having to pass through all the machines that you had to pass to get up to the lead?
It was really hairy early on the race. The entire focus was just to survive. I figured not until the last pit stop or just before it is when you'd want to try and move yourself to the front. People did a decent job of keeping it together. I think there were 2 cautions all race. I saw the first one happen kind of in front of me. Thankfully, it went low. Then the second one, I don't know what happened, but the it was just try and survive the first part, especially as tires got old. You tend to be able to start to pick your way. It started to string out a little bit, so there was room to move your way up through. But on new tires, it was terrifying, to be honest. So I didn't want to try and push it up into the pack.
Mentioned about new tires. You were one of the first drivers to come to pit road on that final pit stop, which was under green flag conditions. When you got down towards the end of the race, did you kind of feel like you were a little bit of a disadvantage with those older tires, or did really the tire wear not come into play?
The big reason I didn't feel like I was at too much of a disadvantage is because I had clean air that last run, right? So I didn't spend any time behind anyone which burns up the right front more. So if I was going to have an issue, it was going to be with the right rear. But I don't think the last run wasn't going to be long enough for that to play into it. So I didn't really feel like it, because since I'd had the clean air the entire run, even if I was being, had to pinch a bit and stuff like that, I didn't think it was going to be too big of a deal. I noticed that if I've gotten stuck when I fell back to third there, if I'd gotten stuck back into the pack, then that was it. I probably wouldn't have been able to get back up through it as quick, but I managed to settle out in third and then take the fight back to him. So
from the most dominant performance of the season to the closest finish of the season, back-to-back wins for you, and we're going to let you do some shout-outs now.
I want to thank Evan, Will, everybody that put this set together. It was pretty good racing, all things considered. Vegas with the IndyCar, it was a pack race, but you could still get enough for run to get by and hold on the outside, especially as tires got old. Will, again, and Evan for putting the race on. I want to thank my teammates, Eric and Matt. I know they came home, 3 in the top 8. So, and then, I want to thank everybody there at the front for, we were all racing like that, for running clean, and you guys for broadcasting. So thank you.
Absolutely. That's Jason Brophy, brings it home here today. P1 in the closest finish of the season. Congrats. Go enjoy your win.
Thank you.
As our coverage here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway comes to a close, I think the thing we kind of were pushing for at the beginning of the broadcast was fuel strategy. I don't think we had photo finish on our mind.
No, I mean, I was just based on how these guys are running. I mean, you had to think maybe there'd be a photo finish, but man, Brophy really held it strong on the outside and was able to make that power move, and that was a fantastic finish to the race.
Absolutely. Well, I was kind of thinking, I didn't want to bring this up to Jason. We've had a driver go 3 in a row here this season, but that was all at road courses. Brophy's gone 2 in a row at speedways, but next week we're going back to a road course. So I wasn't going to ask him his chances just based on the fact we weren't going to a speedway. But next week we're going to be going to the Indianapolis road course, and so that's going to be a bit of a curveball for these drivers.
Yeah, I mean, you got to throw out that Nicholas Johnson's going to be making a recovery after today's race. He's won the past 3 road courses. Will he make it 4 in a row?
Absolutely. He's going to be on a road to recovery. Guys like Quinn and Wood, who were able to cut into his points lead today, can they keep that momentum going and try and make it close when we eventually get to the season finale at Chicagoland? We're going to have to wait and see. But thanks, everybody, for tuning in here tonight to the All-In Indy 200 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Next week, we are going to be at the Indianapolis Road Course. And then after that, these guys get themselves ready for qualifying for the big one pretty much of the season, and that is, of course, the 3rd annual Fuel Indianapolis 500. But Sam, as always, appreciate you being here in the booth with me.
Always a pleasure.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you guys next Thursday night as we continue on the season here in the Fuel Racetrack Designs IndyCar Series. For Sam Dyer, I'm Seth Cole. Have a great evening. Have you been watching another broadcast here on the Flatout Racing Network?